ସରିଲା ପରେ ଆପଣ ଭେଟିବେ ହେଲା। ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଆରାମସେ। Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my dear students. Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have to wait 5 minutes, then we may start our discussion. So far as our today's discussion is concerned, we have to discuss that is history and evolution of European integration. Are you listening whatever I am speaking? ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହୁଛି ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛ ତ?
Yes, sir.
Please note down that is Unit 1, History and Evolution of European Integration. Let us start our discussion. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Please write down. We have to discuss regarding history and evolution of European integration. The title of the topic, what we are going to discuss today. Okay, are you listening to me? Hello, my dear students, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please write down history and evolution of European integration. We have to discuss regarding what is European integration or European Union. Then we have to discuss regarding the objective. Why European Union exists or what is the importance of European Union, we have to discuss. Thirdly, we have to discuss regarding the origins and evolution of European Union. Are you clear whatever I am speaking? Are you listening to me or not? Hello, dear students.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
What is the topic of discussion so far as today's class is concerned? Who can say? What is the topic of discussion? That is European in world affairs. Are you clear? European Union in world affairs. Do you know about European Union? What is European Union? You might have known regarding United States of America, You might have known regarding United Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR. That is the past USSR. Even if you might have known regarding United Nations Organization. You know. But what is European Union? Are you clear about this? Yes. Please tell me, my dear students. Do you know about the importance of today's topic? What is European Union? ଯାହା କହୁଛି ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ନାହିଁ? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ,
Yes, sir.
ଆମେ କ'ଣ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛେ କହିଲେ? କ'ଣ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବା?
European Union and World Affairs.
ହଁ, ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛେ you might have known regarding United Nations Organization. Yes or no? You know.
Yes, sir.
Do you know? Yes. You might have known regarding United States of America. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
You do also know about USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic. Yes or no?
Yes,
But
sir.
yes. But today's topic is European Union. What is European Union? Actually, European Union came into force, and it is one of the burning subject in this present century. What is the cause behind it? Why we give much emphasis on European Union? Why European Union and in world affairs? That is our subject of discussion in political science. You are all the students of master degree in political science. So far as your MPS is concerned. Are you clear? So in this sense, try to understand. Whenever we are talking about Zelensky and your Putin, so far as the Ukraine and Russia war is concerned, your European Union is mostly highlighted. Are you clear? So, European Union is we can say about, it is one of the unique organizations. It is neither a confederation nor a federation. Try to understand one thing. First of all, try to get knowledge, the fundamental knowledge regarding European Union. What are the pillars of European Union? And how European Union stands, and what is the importance of European Union? What is the main aim and objective to study European Union? This is our subject of discussion. Are you clear? So in this sense, one thing comes to my mind. Whenever we are associated with the concept of the European Union, actually, it is a unique organization. Unique means what? Something different. It is not equal with other organization. Just I tell you, United Nations Organization, you know, ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ମିଳିତ ଜାତିସଂଘ କହୁଛୁ, ବା ୟୁନାଇଟେଡ୍ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ସ ଆମେରିକା, ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଯୁକ୍ତରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ଆମେରିକା କହୁଛୁ, USSR, ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଅତୀତର ୟୁନାଇଟେଡ୍ ସୋଭିଏତ୍ ସୋସିଆଲିଷ୍ଟ ରିପବ୍ଲିକ୍ କହୁଛୁ, ଇଏ ସେମିତି କିଛି ନୁହେଁ। ୟୁରୋପିଆନ୍ ୟୁନିୟନ ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବିଷୟ ସମଗ୍ର ବିଶ୍ୱବାସୀଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ପାଲଟିଲା। ସେତିକି ବେଳେ ଆମେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିଛେ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ୟୁକ୍ରେନ ଏବଂ ରୁଷିଆର ଯୁଦ୍ଧ, ଯୋଉ ଘମାଘୋଟ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ଏବେ ଲାଗି ରହିଛି, ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛେ ରୁଷିଆର ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରପତି ପୁଟିନ ଏବଂ ଜେଲେନ୍ସ୍କି ଯିଏ ଅଛନ୍ତି ୟୁକ୍ରେନ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରପତି, ନିକଟରେ ଜାଣିଥିବ ଆମେରିକାର ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରପତି ଡୋନାଲ୍ଡ ଟ୍ରମ୍ପଙ୍କ ଆଭିମୁଖ୍ୟ ଏବଂ ୟୁକ୍ରେନ ଓ ରୁଷିଆର ଯୁଦ୍ଧର ଅବସାନ ପାଇଁ ଯେଉଁ ସୁଚିନ୍ତିତ ପରାମର୍ଶ ଏବଂ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ଲାଗିବା ପଛରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭୂମିକା ବହନ କରେ ୟୁରୋପିଆନ୍ ୟୁନିୟନ। କାରଣ ୟୁରୋପିଆନ୍ ୟୁନିୟନର ସଦସ୍ୟତା ଗ୍ରହଣ ପାଇଁ ରୁଷିଆ ର ସମ୍ପର୍କ ତାହାର ପୂର୍ବ ରାଜ୍ୟ ପୂର୍ବ ଅଂଶ ଯାହାକି ବିଭାଜିତ ୟୁକ୍ରେନ ସହିତ ଅତ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଖରାପ ହେଲା ଏବଂ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ପରି ଭୟାବହ ପରିସ୍ଥିତି ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଲା ଏବଂ ସମଗ୍ର ବିଶ୍ୱରେ ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଛେ କିପରି ଭାବରେ ଅଶାନ୍ତିର ବାତାବରଣ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଇଛି ଓ ୟୁକ୍ରେନର ଏବଂ ରୁଷିଆର ଯେଉଁ କ୍ଷୟକ୍ଷତି ଏଇ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରୁ ଚିନ୍ତା କଲେ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା କହିଲି ଯାହାକୁ ତୁମକୁ ଇଂରାଜୀରେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଖାଲି କହିଦେଉଛି ତୁମକୁ ବୁଝିବା ପାଇଁ ଯେ ୟୁରୋପିଆନ୍ ୟୁନିୟନ ଗୋଟିଏ ସ୍ୱତନ୍ତ୍ର ସଂସ୍ଥା, ଇଏ ଗୋଟିଏ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସଂସ୍ଥା। ଇଏ ମିଳିତ ଜାତିସଂଘ ନୁହେଁ, ୟୁନାଇଟେଡ୍ ନେସନ୍ ନୁହେଁ, ଯୁକ୍ତରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ଆମେରିକା ନୁହେଁ, ୟୁଏସ୍ଏସ୍ଆର୍ ନୁହେଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏ ଫେଡେରେସନ୍ ସ୍ୱରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ମାନେ ଇଏ ସଂଘୀୟ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ନୁହେଁ, ଫେଡେରେସନ୍ ନୁହେଁ ବା କନଫେଡେରେସନ୍ ଗୋଟେ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ବି ନୁହେଁ। ତେଣୁ ଏହାର କ'ଣ ଭୂମିକା ରହିଛି, ୟୁରୋପିଆନ୍ ୟୁନିୟନର କ'ଣ ଭୂମିକା ରହିଛି, କ'ଣ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ରହିଛି ଏବଂ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ବିଶ୍ୱ ରାଜନୀତିରେ ଏହାର କିପରି ଭାବରେ ଅବଦାନ ରହିଛି ଆମେ ସେଇ ବିଷୟରେ ଅଧ୍ୟୟନ କରିବା। ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହିଲି ସମସ୍ତେ ବୁଝିପାରିଲ? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ହଁ ସାର୍।
ଏମିତି ପଢ଼େଇବି ନା ଖାଲି ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭାବରେ ଇଂଲିଶ କହିବି? କୁହ, ମତ ଦିଅ। ପ୍ଲିଜ୍ ଗିଭ୍ ୟୋର ଓପିନିଅନ୍।
ଏମିତି
ଆମେ
ପଢାନ୍ତୁ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଶୁଣ, ତୁମେ ହଉଛ you are the scholar of Indira Gandhi National Open University, and you might have known IGNO is a national level organization. It is a central university, and as you are the people of this university, you have a great role. You have to read well and a clearer conceptual analytics. You must be clear. So here face-to-face discussion. If any doubt arises in your mind, please I may solve it because there is change. So as a evaluator, as a examiner, I have already noted so many times regarding the importance of learning process, teaching learning process. So if the students and teacher will not be combine each other, and if there will not be proper interaction, automatically we cannot achieve our goal. Education does not mean only to get certificates, but the real meaning of education to inculcate knowledge and to discover the wisdom and to make research how to get proper knowledge in your surroundings. So that point of view, whenever I have been associated with any teaching and learning process, I try to clear your doubts. And if you will able to require knowledge so far as its concept is concerned, automatically you will win the race. ତେଣୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମେ ପଢ଼େଇବା ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହିଲି ଯେ କ'ଣ କହିଲି the union is a unique organism. It is a unique in the sense that it is neither a confederation or nor a federation. So it is somewhere in between a happy house between a confederation and federation. So it is neither like the United Nations, even though, as I told you, an international organization of independent nation states. So it is what? It is an international organization. That means try to understand something that European Union. Please point out this. Please write this in your notebooks. The European Union is an international organization, and it is a supranational organization. I said it is a organization of independent nation states. So we can say it is a supranational organization. That means it is an association of independent European states which realized in the that means in the wake of post Second World War. Okay, World War period, that conflict among the European states will be counterproductive, and if they wanted to retain their traditional independence. So try to understand one thing, that in the community of nations, a merger interest was inevitable. So if the nation states could pool their resources, their respective resources position will be strengthened. So far as unite, you have to unite or perish. Unite to stand, divided will fall. So if every nations, independent nations will unite each other, and they will think about the development of their own country with the development of other states. So if the country will unite, that the states can develop. If the country will not unite, the, they may perish. Another thing you will find that means the members of the European Union, they choose the first result of a series of treaties and associations which finally culminated into the European Union in 1992. So far as this unit is concerned, whenever we are talking about European Union in world affairs, we will discuss this. What we will discuss? This process of the evolution of European Union. And we have to understand, so far as its importance is concerned, this background and of origin and formulation of European Union. Then we have to understand the process of formation and development of the European Union. And the most important is that is to appreciate the purposes and tasks for which European Union has been formed. These are the themes we have to discuss. Automatically, we can get more knowledge regarding the chapter, and our discussion will be systematic. So here you can think about one thing. Victor Hugo Victor Hugo is the first European thinker who dreamed of one Europe. Therefore, the idea of United States of Europe was mooted by Jean Monnet. Then you can find the the credit for the actual integration of Europe actually so far as Robert Schuman, the French foreign minister, who took the initiative in this regard. He proposed the formation of European coal and steel community so far as ECSC is concerned by pulling the iron ores and the coal resources of Europe as well as their iron and steel industry under the regulation of one integrated authority. This plan was popularly known as the Schuman Plan. This is a Schuman Plan because the Robert Schuman is the French foreign minister who practically developed and performs his duty positively regarding the United European Union. Then try to understand that the Treaty of Paris 1951, these six states known as the original six of U. What are the original six states? So far as the France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, whenever they agreed to form the ECS, European Coal and Steel Community. At that time, this came into force. So, these states immensely benefited from it and to expand at its the, their economic cooperation in other fields. The next step, so far as the evolution of European Union is concerned, we may think about that under the Treaty of Rome in 1957, the European Economic Community, that is WEC, and the European Atomic Energy Community, that is URATOA, the EEC claimed as removing the trade and traffic barriers among the so far as the position is concerned, the United Kingdom, who invited to join in the EEC, that is European Economic Community, at the time of formation, but UK had some issue regarding the proposed common traffic policy. The United Kingdom was in favor of the removal of international trade barriers. That means you can find that the European common market, so far as the transatlantic organization, the pattern of that is the most important thing, which is the pattern is NATO. So, however, Charles de Gaulle, France outrightly rejected the British proposals. The United Kingdom then took the initiative to form an organization aimed at fostering that the regional economic cooperation at the European Free Trade Association, that is EFTA in 1959. The members were UK, United Kingdom, Ireland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Switzerland. So the EU, European Common Markets into Transatlantic Organization in 1959, and you can find the members of EFTA were UK, Ireland, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and that EFTA proposed to climate another thing we find the thing is means and another thing we find that means the European countries for the present situation is concerned, the former Soviet Union applied and used the membership of the European Union. It is no longer remain a Western European economic organization, but became only that. Then another thing is here remains information. And another thing we find that the European Union began functioning in 1957. Are you listening to me or not? European Union ତାର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କେବେ ଆରମ୍ଭ କଲା? Please tell me. 1957. The European EEC. And another thing you will find, the European Community, the collective organization which we call the European Community EC. Then another thing is here, the EC is committed to protecting the interest of the European consumers and producers. The objective is that the consumers must get safety super products of goods quality and reasonable prices, and producers must get, that is, remunerative prices for their produce. Moreover, the European community, you can find one thing, has to ensure sustainable development so that the environment is not degraded. The common tariff and trade policy has been adopted by the members of the environmentalists. Then, when the question comes regarding the acts of European Union, how it is how there is a single act, the credit for the single European act goes to European Commission, President Jacques Delors, who was instrumental in the preparation of a white paper in 1985, which paved the way for signing of the single act. The white paper pointed out that the future expanding community has the potential to serve the 30 million European consumers. So here you can find one thing. What are the obstacles so far as the European Union is concerned? And you can find the free movement of people and goods have either been removed or are being curtailed. Passport checks at international borders of the European Union countries have been abolished. So a single European Union passport has been introduced. Degrees and certificates issued by the various educational institutions in the the member countries are now receiving mutual recognition and acceptability. Professionals such as doctors and lawyers can practice their professions throughout the European Union. However, freedom of goods and people is still far from complete. The introduction of you is an important milestone in achieving the goal of a single market. So the US give so The fact is, यूरोपियन में कौन देखिले କଥା ମନ କଥା यूरोपियन यूनियन एपरी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन तार मेंबर ऑफ स्टेट मानक मध्य सहमति पूर्वक निष्पत्ति प्रचलन एवं प्रचलन एवं शिक्षागत क्षेत्र में निर्दिष्ट सभ्य राष्ट्र यूरोपियन यूनियन मिलित भाव में सर्टिफिकेट प्रदान करने एवं गुरुत्व देवा बहुत मेंबर स्टेट मान भितर सदस्य राष्ट्र भितर एकता बुद्धि सहित समस्त भीतर भाईचारा सृष्टि करवा एवं गोटे कथा आम जब यूनाइट हवा ताले उन्नति करवा जब यूनाइट न हवा पेरिस करवा डेटोरेट करवा ये सब मुख्य दिग उपरे गुरुत्व आरोप करिछि. So you can find one thing that the treaty that is the Treaty on European Union, popularly known as the Maastricht Treaty, marked a new stage in the processing of creating more close knit union. So it was signed on 7 February 1992 by the members of the European Community at the Dutch city of Maastricht. It came into effect on 1st November 1993. The Maastricht another fine so far as the objective of creating this political union is concerned. It was a result of a long and painstaking separate discussions for a monetary and political union. So the Maastricht Treaty introduced three pillar structures for the European Union, and the most important is the first pillar was the central one of comprising the arrangements of the European communities. So the Maastricht Treaty has ensensed the principle of subsidiarity in the working of the European Union. It means that European Union and its institution will act only if it is more effective to do so that the European Union level than at the national or the local level. The principles ensure that European Union does not unnecessarily interfere in the working of the national governments and the daily life of the citizens. So European identity is a valuable asset to be featured by the European Union, but it should not be confused with uniformity with all European Union members regions. Then another thing you will find that the ratification of the Maastricht Treaty was a difficult proposition Denmark first rejected was later ratified in the second referendum. France ratified it with a water-thin majority. The same was the case with Britain, where in the treaty fueled a series of crises in John major governments. The entire Europe was divided over the issue of ratifications of Maastricht Treaty. It was the most controversial treaty in the history of the modern Europe. Eventually, however, all the hurdles were overcome and it came into force in November 1993. Then try to understand that means so far as the in early 1996, the European Council of Turin and Intergovernmental Conference that commenced with the purpose of elaborating a new treaty that reforms the Treaty of Maastricht. So the Treaty of Amsterdam and Nice, these are the most important things which you can find in October 1997. And after ratification, it came into force. So the fact that the aim of the Amsterdam Treaty was to create such a political and institutional conditions so as to enable the European Union to meet the future challenges of globalization, of the economy, and its impacts on employment, internationalizations of crimes such as terrorism, drugs, and human trafficking, proliferation of arms, environmental degradation, and its impacts on public health. So the most important is the Treaty of Amsterdam devised ways and means to enable the European Union to defend its interests more effectively, that is, in the international arena. It introduced certain changes in the common foreign and security policy. It created a new post of high representative so as to give the CFSP greater prominence, that is, common foreign and security policy, CFSP, that common foreign and security policy, the greater prominence and coherence. So you can find one thing that the treaty introduced changes in the citizenship provisions of the United European Union. It clarified the link between European Union and national citizenship. It states that is unequivocally that the citizen of the Union shall complain and not replace national citizens. The two practical conclusions which will be lodged from it were, firstly, it is necessary to be a national of a member state in order to enjoy citizenship of the Union. Secondly, European citizenship will supplement and complement the rights confirmed by national citizenship. So the European Union citizens' rights are further confirmed by the Treaty of Nice in December 2000, where the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union was formally declared. The Charter was framed in the European Convention, attended by the representatives of the European Parliament, national governments, and the Commission. The most important is the aim of the Treaty of Nice was to prepare the European institutions for the forthcoming enlargement of the European Union. So, the Intergovernmental Conference, that is IGC, which resulted in the Treaty of Nice, that had the mandate of preparing the EU for enlargement of revising the treaties in four key areas, that is size and composition of the Commission, secondly, weight of votes in the Council, and the extension of qualified majority voting, and the fourth is that is enhanced cooperation. So, try to understand one thing, the reforms achieved by the Treaty of Nice were technical and limited. The treaty did not drastically change the institutional balance, but rather made some adjustments in the functions and composition of the institutions and sought to enhance cooperation. Then another thing you will find there were two main reasons as to why the reform of the system was essential before the new member states joined. The first stemmed from the protocol constitution with regard to enlargement of European Union. This protocol alleged the question of the weightage of votes to size of the commission. The member of states which still they had two representatives, the commission wanted some compensation for the change in the composition resulting from enlargement. The second was related to the fact that after the accession of the new member states, most of whom had a smaller population, the balance between the members for the purpose of decision making in the council will be affected if the whole system of which is vote was maintained. The new definition of qualified majority complied another innovation at the request of a member of the council. A check will be made when a decision taken by a qualified majority to ensure that this majority representative at least 62% of the population of the union. So that to understand one thing, that the structures and the visions of the combined details are becoming increasingly complex, with NICE being the seventh European treaty. since the Paris Treaty 1951. As each treaty becomes a law, it is incorporated into the existing set of treaties, which together form the consolidated treaty on European Union. The Treaty of Nice dealt mostly with reforming the institutions so that Union could function efficiently after its enlargement to 25 member states. The Treaty of Nice, the former Treaty of the European Union, and the Treaty of EC have been merged into one consolidated version. Then try to understand one thing that means that these treaties impose obligations upon the national government and confer rights to the citizens of Europe. The treaties are primarily legislation and provide legal basis to the secondary legislation in the form of rules, regulations, directives, decisions, etc. So the treaties have now be clubbed together in one last treaty, and after its ratification by all the members of United European Union. Last but not least, we have to understand one thing that European Union is the result of efforts spanning over more than half a country, and we can think about one thing that a single European Commission and a council were created for the three organizations. Their budgets were also merged into a single conference. The EC abolished, that means the European Commission abolished all the barriers. The European Commission abolished all the barriers. So far as the barriers as concerned, European community abolishes all the barriers of internal trade, such as internal tariff, quota, trust, and cattle. It also imposed a uniform tariff from the external trade and created a custom union and a common market in Europe. The most important thing is that we are thinking about the the treaties, particularly in 1967, the process of European integration slowed down a bit. However, it picked up again in 1980s with the preparation of a white paper under the presidency of Jacques Delors. It led to the signing of Single European Act in 1986, which aimed at completing the formation of single market by 1992. This paved the way for further integration, which resulted in the Maastricht Treaty in 1993, which is formally known as the Treaty of European Union. The first pillar is the economic and social policy, that is ESP, economic and social policy, and it will be achieved through the traditional European community, institutions of ECC, EC, and Eurotem. And the second pillar is a common foreign and security policy, that is CFSP, common foreign and security policy. Its objective is to forge a common European foreign and security policy. The third pillar is the justice and home affairs, JHA. My dear students, please write down this. So far as the third pillar is concerned, that is justice and home affairs, or the or we can say that is police and judicial corporations in criminal matter to check the menace of terrorism, drug and human traffic, and other criminal activities in Europe. The Amsterdam Treaty was signed in 1997, and its objective was to bring structural and functional changes in the institutions of the European Union to meet the challenges of globalization and global trade. The Treaty of Nice was signed in 2001, and its objective was to bring changes in the institutions of the European Union to meet the challenges posed by the rapid expansion of the European Union. So the last but not the least, that the European Union will be no exaggeration to say that regionalism in international relations was a lot to the European efforts and integration. It has also led to the end of age-old rivalry among the European nations, particularly between the France and Germany, the two main proponents of European Union. And so far as this is concerned, you have to examine and discuss the future prospect of European Union, and we have to discuss that so far as to meet the aspiration of the European people is concerned, how it's how it acts. So in this context, the most important thing is here, that is we have to discuss regarding the main theme of European Union, as it discusses about the importance and how it works. So for that point of view, the theories of integration is most important. So far as the theory of integration is concerned, we can find one thing, that the theory of integrations, we have to think about European integration theories, which reflects on the pattern, that is logic and the implication of increasing interaction among European nation states and within a regional setting based on a systematic conceptual explanation. So this explanation goes beyond the factual, that is the or observable aspects of European Union. and seek to understand systematically the fundamentals of leading to the very constitution and operation of society by means of extracting, interpreting, and wherever possible, predicting the line of action. There are a there are a number of European integration theories based on different knowledge domains. Some of them attempt to conceptualize the organization nature of the European Union. Others on theorizing of the nature of the integration process. And some others focus on particular aspects of the operation of the European Union, especially policy and decision making. Whatever be the conceptual and analytical focus of such exercises, all these theories aim to find and provide reliable explanations based on intelligence, and we can find one thing that is foreseeable and reliable evidence of the activity under consideration. And the most important thing that we can see the theoretical diversity as well as diverse methodologies and approaches are often defies precise criteria. The most concept of social sciences that is do not have commonality of understanding and will even be context or culture specific. Therefore, there is no universal understanding of social realities. So in this context, my dear students, we have to understand that the different epistemologies and hence variety of ontological explanation, and this is particularly evident in the analysis of European integration process. So most important thing is here we have to understand the theories and approaches for the study of mechanism and process of integration. And the second is we have to distinguish between federalism and intergovernmentalism and constitutionalism. And we have to understand the contemporary theories of integration. And so far as the integration theory is concerned, we have to that the European Union is perceptibly a complex entity and it defines easy characteristics. This is because the impact of European Union, impact of European Union's nature and functions in relation to its constituent units are subjected to expensive interpretations. That is, interpretations themselves present complexities as these are undertaken in a dynamic environment in which European Union's nature itself undergoes changes. Apparently, the European Union combines in itself the federal principles, confederal structures, and share responsibilities in a non-zero sum pattern. European Union's governance pendulum often swings between the extremes of intergovernmentalism and supranationalism at various points of time and in performance of certain functions. The absence of a historical parallel further adds to the inadequate of the existing political categories to characterize the nature of evolving European Union. So in this context, both normative theories, that is, we have to proceed with that prior commitment to certain value against empirical analytical theories that dissects the European Union process and point out the nature and trends in European Union governance helps to adequately grasp the distinctive nature of European Union. Theories in social sciences are intellectual mapping exercises aimed to systematically understand and reflect upon the essence of socio-political activity. Therefore, theories and qualitative social science research complement and reinforce each other. Theories enable order observation of a social phenomenon and hence better comprehension and reflection on a complex social activity or a situation by its intrinsic emphasis on understanding. Theories enable conceptual delineation of distinctive features and underline the logic of complex social reality without which social science scholarship would be reduced to information gathering. Then we have to understand the uses of integration theory. So far the use of integration theory is concerned, theory that is provide intellectual framework for a systematic analysis and evaluation of the subject matter, which is very essential in order to sharpen our understanding. And secondly, we have to make research more reliable and systematic when the structures of observation and thereby provides direction on direction and consistency in observation and explains theories as mental constructs help to perceive the logic of the evolution, nature of the system, and direction of the change, which is not amenable for sense perception. Theories have facilitated exploration of the undefined and invisible aspects of European Union. Without theories, focus tends to be on observable facts and choice between host of apparent realities or explanation as well as discerning the logic of the system is not possible. In other words, without theories, knowledge becomes narrowly equated with mere information collection. So theory is mostly important to understand every subject because theory is a foundation on which the structure stands, the pillar stands. So if we will not give emphasis on theory, then the collection of materials or collection of any documents or evidences will be a mere information collection. So every theory presents distinct insights, insights and provides intellectual tools not only for the analysis and evaluation of the given, but also to comprehend the condition of a recurrence and future direction. So, in this sense, we can understand the reality and the choice, which depends on conceptualizations, familiarity with integration theories, and which helps in testing the validity of the concepts in real life situation and suggests a better approach to knowledge acquisition by linking concept and practice. By presenting various perspectives and engaging each other critically, integration theories have become instrumental in the development of new ideas and new fields of activity by drawing parallels and verify conclusions drawn up by earlier researchers as well as by suggesting potentiality fertile questions for further research integration. Theories have contributed substantially to the increased knowledge about Union. So in this context, we can find that theories, particularly integration theories, provides a prospective understanding and action as it identifies the nature of the given social processes in a broader intellectual and social domain and locates the stage of development in accordance with its theoretical assumptions. So far as the development is concerned, you can find one thing that the concept like multiple citizenship, sovereignty, etc. in the European Union defy characterization in the precise terms as there exists no historical parallels and existing thought and terminologies become insufficient to capture the essence of the European Union. Theories aid in grasping the complex reality by identifying significant political variables and describe their mutual relationship. It provides systematic explanations for events in a series of interconnected principles and helps conceptualize the essence of changing nature of the European Union and categories. Now we have to understand what is federalism because I have already discussed with you so far as the introduction regarding the European Union is concerned, whether it is a federation or confederation, but it is one of the unique organisms. I have already told you that federalism, so far as federalism is concerned, where you can find that is there is a written constitution. In the federation, you can find there is a distribution of power, and in federation, you can find there is a dual government, and in federation, you can find there is a single citizenship and independent impartial judiciary. So in this context, whenever we are thinking about federation, United States of America comes to our mind. That is the first federal country in the world. That means the true federation can be found whenever there is a discussion regarding the system of governance in United States of America. So in this context, we can think about one thing, that the constitutional arrangements defines the competence of each organs of the government. And you have known one thing, that in the government, the major organs, that is legislature, the lawmaking organ, the executive, the law enforcing organ, and the judiciary, the law interpreting organ. That means you can find safeguards the individual and the collective rights. So in spite of the universal acceptance, federalism has no universal accepted definition. It does not emanate from a single source of theory, a grand design. So it is therefore subjected to extensive interpretation, that federal states in practice follow different patterns of federal arrangements. Nevertheless, federal polity is broadly attributed with certain characteristics, which includes power over public policy, and which is divided between federal or council governments and regional governments. Then, so far as the power is concerned, both sets of governments is allotted and protected by constitution document, which implies the supremacy of the constitution in the federal setup. And the third is the judiciary, that is in federal system, is independent. I have already discussed with you that independent and impartial judiciary is the most important qualification so far as the federal state is concerned. Because in the federal system, judiciary should be independent in order to settle disputes over division of powers and constitutional property. And I have already told you the written constitution is the most important characteristics of federal states, because it is most essential and it is also necessary for the federal condition. So in federal setup, both central and regional governments have coordinate powers, and relationship is not one of superior or inferior. Both have responsibilities over public policy, although they are not necessarily exclusive. The governments at the central level, however, might have a larger responsibility in providing identity, coherence, and protection of the system as a whole. And it has responsibilities on important areas such as currency, defense, foreign affairs, etc. Nevertheless, federalism provides for democratic participation of the units and the governance of larger politics. And we have to understand that the scholars and the statesmen in the European history as well as in the contemporary times have envisaged the construction of Europe on federal lines as a way out to meet the requirement of the time. Many in Europe felt that the nation states had outlived its utility and alternative arrangements have to be devised looking beyond the confines of nation states. So international law and traditional, that is European institutions, were advanced as an effective mechanism to prevent nationalistic conflicts and to sustain democracy against authoritarian regimes in Europe. So far as such a line of thoughts existed earlier, as could be seen in the work of so far as whenever we are thinking about the federalists like unlike functionalists who stressed on process rather than acts from considered formal consumerism of institutional that slash our constitutional arrangements as a prerequisite for the transmission of political order. So federalism is supported by many both as political movements and ideological prescriptions to overcome the evils of narrow nationalism, which have led Europe to two world wars and loss of glory. Federalism also appealed to those who supported institutionalized pluralism and cultural diversity, as well as pacifists who, with a deep sense of humanism, opposed domination in any form. Therefore, federalism presented its case on the premise that popular participation and harmony among diverse entities in Europe can be better organized by a new institutionalized democratic arrangements at the European level serving higher political purpose of all European countries. So, trying to understand one thing that the federal ideas prominently figured at the time of signing the Single European Act in 1986 in the deliberations of the Intergovernmental Conferences in 1991, the Maastricht Treaty in 1992, and in the debate on European Constitution in the beginning of 21st century. You can find that the Federalists therefore argue that federalism is all the more relevant to the European Union today. In the view of European and global transformation, they also hope that an enlarged European Union can be better managed by federal structure, as federalism has inherent capacity to maintain the balance between European Union and states. So the sovereignty and the responsibilities would be shared by the two in a democratic and progressive way, considering their effectiveness in specific areas, and this enables better decision making so far as depriving the role of identity of member states in the context of European Union. So, in fact, the supporters of federalism see the basic elements of federalism already existing in European Union. They are first is division of powers between European Union institutions and member states. Secondly, it is acting like a constitution and specify competences of each organ of the European Union, and the European Court of Justice acting like the Supreme Court, upholding the letter and spirit of the treaties and adjudicating disputes over the divisions of powers. Then, most important is, though not exclusive responsibilities on public policy and increasing increased competences of the European Union on the major issues, especially concerning economic and minority aspects. And the most important thing is here that the union citizens and subsidiarity principle indicating though indicating the recognition of the legitimacy of European Union and operation of higher political principles. So try to understand one thing is here, that means the critics of federalism, they points out that increased competences of European Union does not mean that European Union has become a federal entity. At best, it shares responsibility with member states on certain defined areas. Member states are still the prime movers of the European Union and its developments. They are still in charge of effective control over a large number of areas vital to nation states, such as foreign affairs, define defense, taxation, provision of fundamental rights, health, education, welfare measures, etc. Moreover, at the European Union level, unanimity is required for important decisions such as enlargement, adoption of a constitution, etc. The European Union also does not enjoy power of legitimate physically force over citizen of its territory, indicating the absence of the traditional features of statehood. So you can find one thing, so far as the case of French and Dutch referendum, in many, so far as June 2005 is concerned, on the European Constitution, you can find that it indicated that legitimacy of European institutions are still in doubt, and Europe is far from the federalists. Then, whereas to go, then we have to evaluate. That means a preoccupation with the prior constitutional arrangements or failure to develop suitable strategies, that is considering the exigencies of the time. And we can find the failure of to evoke public response through sustainable campaigns of or awareness that programs in civil society. And federalist propositions and debates largely confined to academic, and elite circles. Then the most important is the unresolved differences over strategies and for from among the federalists, while some federalists were uncompromising on the precisions of a constitution or use of others, we are suggesting shaping and advancing European Union that would eventually lead to the adoption of a constitution in Europe. These definitional differences have only compounded the problems, while the British mostly considered a federal Europe is one with increased power of the European Union and the cost of nation states. Others saw it from the dynamic sociological perspective in which federalism process was present in every decisions, that is co-decision and share responsibilities operating in a non-zero sum way. And the most important is the failure to advance convenience, public discourse, and logical explanation on the desirability of federalism or intergovernmental cooperation. The most important thing is here the European federalists and the scholars are increasingly reflecting on the theoretical positions with due consideration to the problems inherent in the theory as well as societal developments. John Fender, for instance, in what he terms as new federalism. What is new federalism? That is an advances that incrementalist strategies to gather unifying forces and to lend legitimacy to proto-federalist institutions. This is in contrast to classical federalism, which emphasis on outreach construction of federal units with a constitution. So, the new federalism attempts to couple economic and political linkages with federalists' concern for constitutional principles and problems. And on the other hand, we have to discuss here that the new thoughts represents so far as the federalistic theory regarding so far as the participation and how it contributed to the European integration. That is also a debate and discussion. Then we have to understand that intergovernmentalism. So far as the intergovernmentalism is concerned, it states a basic actors in the process of European integration and the European institutions, so far as it is process and participation is concerned, that is not a mere facilitators or agents implementing the collective wish of the national government in this state centering perspective, states act together to realize common objective and the will of the states are expressed through national governments. States are independent to decide on major internal and external issues. So in this context, we can understand one thing, that the intergovernmentalism, a broad school of thought from the basic premise that member states are the driving force of European Union integration, and they act without surrendering inalienable sovereignty of statehood. So the intergovernmentalism combines in itself that diverse perspectives, new religion, for instance, looks at the structure. So whenever we think about the structural arrangements that shape the actions of the states, or the whole different perspective on the nature of interstate relations. So whenever we are thinking about this, we may understand one thing, that Stanley Hoffman, who is an American academic, who is Stanley Hoffman. And dear students, please remember the name of Stanley Hoffman. Stanley Hoffman, he is one of the academician. He is a scholar of so far as intergovernmentalism is concerned. What he speaks, he argues that in the post World War, so far as second post World War II is concerned, it was political, economic, and security consideration rather than supranational integration logic that prompted European states to adopt a regional approach. The European community was therefore a limited arrangement for serving common purpose, and it did not alter the basics of nation states, as cooperation was limited only to few areas that were not significant to the core of nation states. To him, so far as Hoffman is concerned, we can understand one thing, that historical legacies, cultural and linguistic differences, and diverse outside ends are hard to overcome. And so far as European community, that means technocratic elites, you can find that resistance amounting to federal constructions of Europe is impractical. Therefore, any attempt to discard nation states in Europe will be futile exercise, since nation states were obstinate rather than obsolete players in the game of international politics. In certain conceptualization, centrality of the state continues, but domestic politics is seen as having significant bearing on the actions of the states. So, in this perspective, European Union policy decisions are viewed as outcomes of the two-level game, in which domestic politics is linked with state centricism. This two-level game conceptualization, most famously advanced by R.D. Putin, argues that at the international level, political leaders engage in bargaining with other states in ways that enhances their position domestically by meeting demands of key domestic constituents. This implies a continuous bargain and reconciliation of competing domestic national preferences within the European Union region. The conception of a two-level game narrows down a boundary between the domestic and international domain, provides a practical explanation of the integration process instead of grant theorization or a priori moral positions. Nevertheless, in these perspectives, states are still significant in determining the integration outcome, but the rigidity associated with the statehood is relaxed. So, whenever we are thinking about this constitutionalism is very important because state-centric model is constitutionalism, constitutionalism, which develops prominently by unnamed Lispart. And you can think about this that the socialism model are made advanced differently by different scholars in the European unit context. Paul Taylor also discusses about this and uses this model to represent the inherent paradox of states cooperating in pursuit of their separate interest agendas. So far as European Union represents a symbiosis, mutual dependence between the participating units, that is member states and the collectivity. So the most important thing is here we have to understand that is the proactivity of the elites and centralities, centrality of states in the intergovernmentalism only partly explains the European Union situation. And the most important is here that we have to discuss that means the state-centric approaches apprehend challenges to stated only by entities analogous to the state and which consider the European Union as not having state-like properties. Therefore, it does not consist displacement of power and authority of the state by European Union. And whenever we are thinking about neo-functionalism, hello, my dear students, are you listening to me or not? Yes, please tell me, do you feel comfortable so far as our discussion is concerned? Yes, hello. Hello, my dear students. Please respond to me.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Bandana, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Now we have to discuss regarding neo functionalism. Please write down this. This is very important. This is very important for European Union is concerned. What is new functionalism? And this new functionalism we can think about as it came into force, that is in 1950s and 1960s. It is a why it came into force. That means it is a theoretical explanation to the complex process of Europe integration. So far as integration is concerned, or the assembly of the European Union is concerned, it is prominently developed by American scholars. So far as the initial days of neo-functionalism, as is represented to a concern for methodological rigor and rejected the idealism, okay, of the federalist movement as well as functionalist versions of supranational paradigms. It did share with them whenever we are thinking about new functionalism that did not despise state system as an evil, rather viewed it is becoming, okay, so far as the irrelevant and outliving utility in the contemporary period is concerned. So initially we can think about as it is propounded by Ernest B. Hans in 1958, who did not believe in functionalism's automatic, that is expansion of the technical and economic areas into political areas in integration process as well as in the creation of large number of functional agencies. So the new functionalism, on the other hand, argued that integration in one sector will advance gradually to include to other sectors in a step-by-step process. As such, integration will be influenced by interests rather than moral principles. So, interest is the most important thing so far as the nation states external policies is concerned. For interest, state interest is measured, and that is the means one of the important consideration so far as the new functionalism is concerned. And you can understand one thing, that integration has to begin with the low politics attempts of technical harmonization in the areas of common concern instead of sensitive high politics. Then the change in attitude and loyalty of crucial elites of government interests both as political parties allied socialism, which takes place because of societal circumstances like industrializing economy and pluralist democracies, and also by an expectation that their interests can be best served by the supranational action level. This gives a political push to the intergovernmental process that cultivated spillover, leading to supranational decision-making system. And the most important, that is, we can say, last but not the least, mass support is not necessary. Mass support is not necessary. Why? prerequisite is mostly essential. For integration, although attitudinal changes could take place as a result rather than cause of integration. And the most important and the last thing is here, community supranational institutions like the European Commission will be expected to provide leadership in the step-by-step integration, facilitating upgradation of common interests rather than merely still sitting at the intergovernmental common dominator, that is bargaining and move the community towards the supranational Europe. So another thing is here, so far as the religion is concerned, we can understand one thing, that is the new realistic emphasizes on structured institutional system, does not negate the role of the states in any way, and the state-centric approach is the hallmark of new religion. As Alan Melwat argued that European integration represented the adaptive response of Europe measures, but were ravaged states dented by global pressures in the aftermath of Second World War. So the most important thing is here, that means the that means just like the contemporary theories, confederation, which is not a meticulous theory but a framework that represents a variant form of intergovernmentalism. It argues that the relationship between the community and the state is limited but meaningful partnership that safeguards national autonomy through consensual form of governance. It lays premium on the unity in diversity principle, but at the same time, it points to the limits rather than possibilities of a regional constitutionalization of a community building process. So European community has been viewed by some are closely corresponding to the confederal design, as Roberts and Stelhoffman, for instance, point out that the study of community confederal model will be better applied since the central institutions, which are largely intergovernmental, more concerned with establishing common framework than with network of detailed regulations, apparently willing to tolerate a vast amount of national diversity. And the interdependence is such, in this sense, we can understand one thing, that is the interdependence school of thought became prominent in 1970s in the context of the increased role of national governments in the operational of European community, as well as increased complexities in the global economic and political situations, and the emergence, that is a large number of actors operating and cutting down the traditional, that is divide between domestic and external sphere. And the most important thing is here, that means the thing is here that we have to discuss. Discuss here. That is most important thing is we have to remember the main things that is crucial for us. In my next class, I have to discuss other things. So far as our subject matter is concerned, last but not least, it is a very suitable topic. My dear students, please have patience and attend my class regularly in order to get actual knowledge regarding the European Union and the in so far as in world affairs is concerned. Thank you all. Hello, dear. Hello, my dear students. Are you listening to me or not? Are you all satisfied with my class?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes. Myself, Dr. Vivekananda Singh, and I have been continuing as Assistant Professor in Political Science. Okay? Now, I have been acting as counselor in Political Science, that is in JKBK Government College, IGNOU Study Center, Cuttack. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me question and we may meet each other in our next class, that is 1st April. Okay, 1st April 2025, the same time, that is 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Please tell to your friends to assemble and to attend our class regularly, by which our teaching and learning process will be fruitful. Thank you all for your patient hearing and attending my class. And if you have any doubts, you can raise your questions.
Sir,
Yes, thank you all.
sir,
Thank you all.
sir, ଆର କଣ important questions ଅଛି?
As the important questions I have to discuss with you in my next class. Okay, the
Yes, sir.
questions, the possible questions I may discuss with you in our further classes. Okay,
Okay, sir.
thank you all for attending my class. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay, thank you all. We may meet each other in our next class.